we are also recording the webinar to be shared with attendees after the webinar on YouTube and Meetup. So let me start by welcoming our guest today, our speaker, Zishan, Agile Coach. And we will share with us today a very interesting topic for Agile leaders, refocus for Agile leaders. Honestly, I'm interested to listen to such webinar, and I'm sure it will be very useful and interesting for all of you. Let me introduce the initiative of Agile Arena and XP Days in a couple of minutes. Then I will take the opportunity for Zishan to start his talk. 6 months ago, we started the initiative between Agile Arena and the XP Days to share the knowledge in different Agile topics, either technical or non-technical topics, to spread the awareness and knowledge of Agile in Middle East. Ahmed Helmi, the founder of XP Days, mainly focused on Riyadh and spreading over online webinars after COVID-19. And Mona Radwan, Agile Coach and the founder of Agile Arena. We have a lot of series about Agile. You can find it on YouTube channels, either on Agile Arena or XP Days. I invited you to subscribe to receive the latest YouTube videos and webinars. So let's start by welcoming Zishan. Hello, Zishan.
Yeah.
Hi, hello. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Mona and Ahmed.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you, Zishan, for your collaboration and being with us today. Actually, I know Zishan for about more than a year ago, but it's our first webinar together. And I envy everyone here because Zishan is very experienced, and we all will benefit from his experience today. Thank you, Zishan. Thank you, everyone. And you can start, Zishan.
Thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, clear.
Okay, perfect. So as you know, today's topic is on refocus for agile leaders. And we are going to explore this, like how we can refocus as an agile leader. So the first slide, I think Mona and Ahmed already covered, or maybe you want to say something more, if you feel free to add.
No, go ahead. We already introduced Agile Arena and XP Days initiatives. And
Okay.
you can find our webinars on Agile Arena YouTube or XP Days YouTube. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Perfect. So that's XP Days and Agile Arena. Thank you very much for having me today. So let's have a quick introduction about myself. So my name is Zishan Ilyas. I'm working as an Agile coach for Siemens here in the Middle East. In terms of my experience, I have more than, let's say, 20 years experience within IT and Agile. So last 10 years, mainly in Agile. I have worked with many different organizations in different sectors, including telecom, financial services, food, digital media, industrial automation. So all these are different domains I worked in. So in terms of my professional expertise, I'm certified Scrum at Skill trainer. I'm certified instructor from IC Agile, certified professional coach. I'm working with Agile Leadership Journey as a guide and practitioner. Also certified team coach from Scrum Alliance and Scrum educator. So this is just a quick introduction about myself. We'll go to our next slide. This is more about the agenda topics, what we are going to cover. So as part of this session, we will be looking into what leadership is in contrast to agile leadership. And then we'll look into some areas where we need to refocus as an agile leader. Okay. So the first thing we are going to do is, as part of this, we need to divide you into some breakout rooms. So maybe Ahmed or Mona will help me. So the idea is we will maybe based on the participants, I think we have around 17. Yeah, so we can create 3 breakout rooms. So in the breakout rooms, we'll send you for 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, and you will discuss as a group what is leadership. Forget about agile. So we'll come to the agile part later on. So just think about what is agile, what is leadership, not thinking about agile, and why does your leadership matters. So when you come back from your breakout room, we will have a discussion. We'll get some insight from your side to see what your thoughts are in terms of leadership and why you think leadership matters. And then we'll go forward in terms of what agile leadership is. So Ahmad or Mona, when you're ready, maybe we can send them in the breakout room.
Yes. How much rooms?
I
3?
think based on the participant, 3 rooms will be enough. So we can keep
3 will be
myself
enough?
out. Yeah.
Yes, okay. I'll translate for Arabic speakers to know what's the
Okay.
activity. شباب احنا هنعمل بريك اوت رومز هتتكلموا فيها، تكونوا مجموعات تتكلموا عن ايه هي ليدرشيب بعيدا عن الاجايل وليه هي مهمة. فهتقسموا مجموعات، كل جروب حوالي 5، هتتناقشوا مع بعض ايه هي ليدرشيب وليه ممكن تكون مهمة. وهنبدأ دلوقتي البريك اوت رومز.
So we still have few participants outside.
Yes. Joined. Ahmed, Anoud, Frank. I think Frank is not invited into rooms. I don't know if I can add him. No, I can't.
Yeah.
Anoud and Ahmed, may you join your rooms?
So the discussion you are going to have is around what is leadership
Yes.
and why does your leadership matters.
I invite Frank to join room 3. I'll try to join the rooms. Maybe I can help. Don't think there's any help, right?
Yeah, it seems like in one room there is only two people.
Yes, people are going out and in. How much we need? 2 minutes more?
5 minutes, right?
Yes.
So now we have. Yeah, maybe you can bring Frank into the room as well. He's alone in one room. Maybe room
Yes,
one.
maybe put him in room 1, if you like. Yes. No, yes. Already. Actually, Mona joined room number 1, number 2. She was there.
So how much time is left?
I think 2 minutes.
Maybe for the next one we only create 2 rooms.
Yes, I'll create 2 rooms,
Yeah.
actually. Okay, enough. Close. And welcome back again. They still have 30 seconds. They are back.
Okay, are we back?
No, he still has a room.
Mhm.
Still 4 seconds. Now they are coming.
All right, welcome back, everyone. So I hope you get a chance to talk to each other, to talk about what is leadership and why does your leadership matters. So anyone would like to share your thoughts? So there is no right or wrong. Whatever you thought about or whatever you talk about, you feel free to share with us. So what you think leadership is? Anyone?
Okay. I talked with my colleagues in I think room 2. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we talk about two things. The first thing is that leadership by definition is leading a group of people or an organization, and it really matters that the success of the organization depends a lot on the leadership, because
Exactly.
they had to define where we are heading.
Yes, exactly.
We should inspire the group of people that they lead to move in the same direction.
Very good
And
quote.
yeah, the second thing we talk about is it's not only about taking care of tasks and projects. It's more about leading people and inspiring people, and let's say that you make sure that you are investing and developing your own people.
Nice. Thank you very much, Hosni. So Hosni said that it's more about leading, helping, investing, and leadership is usually the reflection of the organization. So your organization behave the way your leader behaves. Thank you very much for insight. Any other insights from anyone else? What you think? What is leadership and why does your leadership matters? Or maybe you are a leader. What you think, how you can create influence? Okay, so let's have a look on my screen. So leadership is influence. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So this is from John Maxwell. So leadership is influence means the leadership is what basically drives everything in the organization. So they create influence. They create influence like a positive way. They encourage team members. They work with them. So that's where the differentiation comes in. So there are different types of leadership. Some leader take example from the front, some take from the back, some from the side. There are different examples of leaders, but we need to think about wider that are we now working in traditional leadership style in this kind of a VUCA world, which is volatile, uncertain, or do we need to adapt to some other ways of working? We heard a lot about agile. So some people think agile is a way to go faster, or it's a mindset. So maybe agile is a growth mindset, the way people think. So when we talk about leadership, how we're going to think about how agile can help. So if you need to retake your leadership, the discussion we just had about leadership, if you need to retake this with, let's say, the ingredients of agile, how your leadership should look like. What is an agile leadership? So this is the next topic you're going to discuss in the breakout room. So now when you go into breakout room, you will only go into 2 breakout rooms for 5 minutes. And you will talk about what agile can bring on top of leadership, why people are talking about agile leadership. And when you come back, we will try to bring some insight from the agile and then we will go forward. So this will really help us to build some momentum, so understanding why we are talking about agile leadership or why we are talking about refocusing into some areas. So with this, I will leave you in your breakout rooms for 5 minutes to think about agile leadership, what is different about agile. Okay. So Ahmed, if you can.
Okay, again I'll translate for them.
Yeah.
شباب انتوا هتخشوا تاني بريك اوت روم هتتناقشوا فيها عن ايه اللي بتضيفه الاجايل على الليدرشيب وايه يعني ايه اللي بيحصل او ايه الحاجات اللي الاجايل بتضيفها على كونكم تكونوا شغالين او ان يكون في ليدرشيب. فهتتناقشوا تاني 5 دقايق وهترجعوا لنا تاني.
Okay. Thank you, Ahmed.
2 rooms.
So again, there is no right or wrong. So feel free to discuss what comes into your mind with regards to agile and leadership. And then when you come back, we will have a collaborative discussion on that.
Strong. And to start a pick. We create 2 rooms, assign, we create. What's wrong? Yes. I think we can end now, right?
Say again?
We can end now, right?
Yes, I think it's 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's wait for a second.
So when you end, it gives 10 seconds or 30 seconds?
They need 60 seconds to get back. 1 minute.
Okay, we are just waiting for rest of the participants to join back.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I think all of us are back. So welcome back. I hope you get a chance to talk about how leadership is different when you talk about Agile. So maybe some of you would like to share your insight, what you have discussed.
Yes,
Yeah.
in group one, we have some discussion and we agreed on something because agile teams are team self-organized and self-managed, and they are going to work under some like clear objectives. So leadership here is it's mandatory and it's something must to have, especially for the facilitators and like we can say the process owners, like the Scrum Master or the agile coaching. Or the mentors. So leadership, it's from the team itself, and it's based on the objectives has like the company and the project objectives. This is first thing. Second thing, all the team are collaborated together, so
Nice.
also directed to the same objective for the project success.
Nice, very good thoughts. Any other thoughts from the other group?
Yes, we are in group two. We agreed that leadership in Agile represent facilitating or direction for the rest of team. And then we have like a conflict between leadership and management in Agile. Some of teams here in Egypt doesn't confess that Agile doesn't need management. It's also need a leader to give them the direction to go to right, but we all are on the same level. That's it.
Nice. So there is some conflicting thoughts about agile leaders and the management, maybe because
sorry, it's not a conflict, but my colleague says that in Egypt there is a conflict here in Egypt.
Okay, that's fine. I think it goes back to the culture, it goes back to the structure of the organization, it goes back to how the organization hierarchies are structured as well. So there are various things are into play. But when we talk about specifically agile leaders, there are certain behaviors we need to look into, which as a leader, if you're leading, let's say if you're leading as an agile coach, or if you are leading which is a scrum master role as well. So scrum master role is also a leader role because you are working with the team, maybe multiple teams. You need to see what sort of things you need to work on, what sort of mindset you need to have. So if you ask me what is agile leadership, I would like to explain like this. An agile leader is a person who fosters agile ways of thinking and working. So thinking goes back to your agile mindset or growth mindset. So people who are open for ideas, people who are open for new ways of working. So those people can think differently. Creates an environment where teams can do their best. So the environment means, so they create this kind of psychological safety with trust in the center, so they can do their best job and champion agile throughout the organization. So they should at least know what agile working is, what are the agile values and the principles, so then they can help the teams better. So having a leader is a good thing. Leader can be anyone who can create influence. So agile leader is someone who can create influence with agile ways of working, with agile mindset. So having this in mind, we look into some areas where we need to refocus as a leaders. If we think we are agile leaders, we need to rethink about that. The first item we are going to look here is you before others. So if we talk about, let me do my laser pointer, one second. If you think about the picture on the left side, in this, there's a typical leader where he or she is saying, do agile to the employees. And employees are being very obedient employees, and they are trying to do agile. Whereas we know very well, you cannot do agile. Agile is an adjective. You can be agile. You can be agile with the help of agile principles and values. So this kind of leader is someone who is looking at the other people. So that leader is thinking the team needs to do agile rather than thinking about him or herself. How as a leader I can be agile, how I can be in the state of agile. This is where we need to rethink, refocus. Because what we learned earlier, I think from the discussion from the group one, that leaders are the reflection of the organization. So leader needs to behave in a way that they foster agile ways of working in the organization. What you see on the right side is 70% says their manager is the most stressful part of their job. And this is the research done um, globally in various organizations. And the result came back as 70% people think their manager is the most stressful part of their job. That's where you comes before others. So if you're pointing finger on team members or telling team members to do things in that way, you need to think about yourself as a leaders, what you are doing to enable your teams, what you are doing to provide them this kind of environment where they can fail or where they can learn more or where they can be more creative. So leaders play the critical role in any agile transformation. So we talk about agile transformation and then we hire lots of agile coaches and scrum master and then we tell them, okay, do this. Then it's all about doing again. It's you. So you need to drive the change within yourself and then you can make a better change in the organization. So if you look at the second point here, which is experiments before delivery. And if we think about traditional ways of working or traditional, let's say, leader, the so-called leader we have, so those leaders are more focused on delivery. So they are more focused on what we are going to deliver and how we are going to deliver. Let's get this out of the window. So we need to make sure this delivers fast. If you have to work day and night, work day and night. Don't worry about your families. You need to deliver. This is not the way Agile leader works. So Agile leader believes in experimentation. As we said, they need to provide the environment and they need to bring stakeholders in. They should not be afraid of bringing their stakeholders or customers earlier and show them their experiments, like show them what team has done early. That if someone is there saying, oh, that's not working, that's what you're trying to show us, you need to be brave enough, being an agile leader, to take that as a feedback and then go back and try to improve the product or service you are working on. This is where the value is in terms of experimentation. The delivery is thing, you need to deliver stuff, that's good, but you need to deliver with experimentation, and this will give you opportunity to inspect and adapt with the feedback, continuous feedback. So we said we are working in this kind of incremental and iterative environment. Incremental means we are delivering in chunks. Iterative means we are delivering with the continuous feedback. So if we are not having those experiments, then we are not going to get those feedback, and then we are not going to deliver what customer might want. Delivery is one thing, but you need to deliver the right thing. And right thing will only come with the continuous feedback, with the iterations, with, with having stakeholders onboarded, your customers onboarded at every stage. The third thing we're going to look into is awareness before skills. So mostly our agile leaders are unfortunately looking at others and they're talking about skills. Maybe we need some people who have the right skills to do the job. And 80% of managers believe they are supportive of employees. They are trying to help the employees. Maybe they have their grooming system in place where they're looking for the skills they need to improve on. That's part of their career growth. But they're not looking on how, as the leader, they can be more aware. So if you look at the survey results, what they're saying is leaders are thinking that they are supportive of employees, but only 25% of employees are thinking their managers are supportive. And the reason may be me, myself, as a leader, I'm not looking what I'm doing. I'm not aware of my own behaviors. So it requires self-enlightenment. You need to think about yourself, where you might need to improve, where you might need to work on. There are different type of leaders. Some leaders are catalysts who would like to involve everyone in the discussion. Some leaders like to direct things. They like to micromanage. So these sort of things which can not be helpful if you're working as an agile leader. It's not about skills. It's about awareness of your own self. So this is where we need to refocus. We need to refocus about our own awareness rather than the skills. Then the fourth thing we have is structure before behaviors. So we might heard, I mean, lots of people are talking about we need to change the culture or culture drives strategy. So all these nice words are there. Culture eats strategy at the breakfast. So all these things are there. But how we can improve the culture? Or in order to improve the culture, we need to work on structure. So culture follows the structure. So let's say if you have a structure of very hierarchical organization where you have manager and under manager, you have sub managers, and then you have leads, and then you have sub leads, and all these team members are there, then unfortunately you are not giving the culture where you will be expecting behaviors where people are motivated or where people are self-organized and they're going to work on things on their own. You need to change the culture, and you need to change the culture with structure, because we know that leadership teams are the teams who can change the culture, and then ultimately they will get the better culture. We have example of Spotify. So in Spotify, I mean, when they started, they have very hierarchical organization, and then they decided to go to agile ways of working. They said, let's have a flat structure. So everyone had flat structure, so no one was lead, no one was manager, so everyone was working at the same level. So that's where the culture comes in from structure. So you need to realign your structure, then it will ultimately help you in terms of your culture. So if you seek behavior change, then change the organization culture. That's the key. And I don't know, most of us are in that state where we don't even know what culture we are in. So normally every organization has some cultures. So there is a framework called value system framework. It is created by University of Michigan. And according to this framework, where they have spent, I think, more than 25 years of empirical studies, and after that, they find out that most of the organization are either having one or two kind of cultures operating within themselves. So the one culture is creative culture. So creative culture is culture where your leaders are innovative, your leaders are visionary, like Apple. Apple has a creative culture. So their leader, like Steve Jobs, he's a visionary or innovative kind of person. He allows the team to be more creative. So they have less, let's say, processes. So that's where the breakthrough comes in. There's some organization where the culture might be collaborative, where team member wants to do things in collaboration, they do things together, and their leadership teams are perceived as someone who are mentors. They are helping, they're mentors, they are helping teams, and they're also seen as like a parent figure because they are caring about their employees as well. And then what you see on the bottom right side is compete, do things fast. So this is the culture where within the organization, teams are competing with each other. They're competing with each other to to gain some insight, maybe to get some more buying from the leadership team. And that's where they're trying to do things fast. And sometimes they go so far in competition that it will become very, very negative, and it will have negative impact on the teams. Whereas on the left bottom corner, you have control. This sort of culture is normally in the financial sector, where you're working for financial services, where everything is regulated, everything is controlled. You have lots of stage gates, you have lots of processes, and their focus is to make sure whatever they're developing things right. So that's where their control is. So if you're not aware about what culture your organization is, maybe you need to think about these four quadrants and see where your culture is in terms of organization. And you need to find the right balance as a leader, where you are giving environment to your teams to create, to innovate, and also to have a collaborative environment where they can work together and you can mentor them. You can lead the example. And some control, maybe you need to have some controls in terms of quality gates. And then competition, you need to promote healthy competition. And you need to be following this very carefully, that they don't go too far in terms of competition, that it will have negative impact on the teams. So then the performance of the team will go down in the long run. So maybe short run, they might be producing results, which is delivery, but that delivery might not be beneficial for the organization in the long run. So this is where this framework comes in, value stream framework. And the next one, which is the fifth item here, is health before performance. When we talk about any organization, the organizations are running in two ways: performance and health. So if you are focusing as a leader on performance only, then the news is that you are not going to have better results, or you're not going to have motivated teams if you're only focusing on performance. You need to focus on health first. When you talk about health, we're talking about organization health, where you talk about quality products, where you talk about customer alignment. You're bringing your customer in early for experimentation. Your employees are engaged, organization is resilient. So all these things are there in terms of health. So that's where your health comes in. And then the performance, like how we can go faster, how we can go faster while using less resources, or while having less amount of expenditures, how we can go faster, how we can deliver more. So these things goes hand in hand. And we need to focus our attention in terms of health of the organization rather than the performance of the organization, because performance can give you results, but it will ultimately dry out. So you need to make sure the health is there with the performance. So these are the five areas we need to refocus as an agile leader. And with this, I will conclude the session. And if you have any questions regarding to what we discussed as a refocus of agile leaders, so feel free to ask questions. So we are open for questions.
Okay, thank you, Zishan. Thank you, everyone. I just will stop the record and then start take your questions. Thank you, everyone, for the session.